The champion team we're about to cover in this video is powerful enough to slap any and all level 20 dungeons, and the best part is that it's completely free to play, man. Let's get into it. It also bears mentioning that we won't be covering legendaries in this team that are big grind unlocks, right? The likes of Arbiter, the likes of Romantu, the likes of Lydia, those kinds of champs, yeah, they take a lot of grinding to get your hands on. We want to keep it kinda simple, right? A nice, simple, easy to acquire team that you can use to blast the toughest dungeon content in the game. And now is also the best time to mention that if you are a new player starting off a fresh Raid Shadow Legends account, do so by clicking the link down below to instantly unlock the free Epic Attack Champion Juliana on your account as soon as your account hits level 15. You'll also get 500k starting silver, as well as a bunch more free starting supplies and resources, and it's gonna be awesome. So go ahead and do that, man. It's the only right way to start off your fresh Raid Shadow Legends account. Alright, man. Let's get started straight away by hopping into the daily login rewards. The first free champion that makes up this insanely OP team is gotta be Haikatoon. Haikatoon, you get it just for your account existing and just logging in every day for 30 days. Really, really easy to acquire, and she is all about speed and turn meter control. Speed buffs is sort of just the name of the game, right? She has her aura, increases ally speed in all battles by 19%, so if she's your team leader, you're going to be cashing in on that right away. Her A1 is okay. There's a small chance of replacing a 30% decrease speed debuff for a couple of turns on a single target, so not that amazing, but her A2 and her A3, dude, oh man, this is where it gets serious. Rally the Horde, dude, fills turn meters of all allies by 15% and grants a 15% or 30% when ascended increase speed buff on allies for 2 turns. Just insanely powerful stuff, right? If you're a new player and you don't know how good speed is, just believe. The more you play the game, the more you'll understand, man. Speed buffs like this are massive, and Haikatoon takes care of most of your team's speed buff needs just outright. Her A3 is also crazy good. Attack all enemies with a 50% chance of decreasing turn meters by 15%, and of course this can be increased up by a lot as well with skill bucks, dude, as well as knocking the cooldown down by a little bit as well. So a 75% chance of decreasing turn meters by 15% is more accurate. Just an insanely, ridiculously powerful hero for how easy she is to acquire. Haikatoon is going to be our speed goddess in this team. To just briefly toss out an alternative to Haikatoon, if you were able to get yourself a Diabolist up and running, you unlock her for free for just farming stage 12 of the campaign. And you get yourself a Diabolist. She's a pretty good stand-in for Haikatoon until you eventually get Haikatoon, just so you know. And I think that's a pretty good way to go about it, man, is talking about alternatives to these champs as well, because some of them, like Grush the Mangler over here, takes a long time to get your hands on, man. So let's go ahead and check him out, and then we'll talk about some alternatives as well, because it is quite a long wait until you get your hands on Grush. So Grush is going to all be about decreasing enemy attack and just giving your team a little bit more survivability, right? So Grush's A1, Go Slick Maul. There it is, dude. This can be buffed up to a 75% chance of placing a leech debuff on just one target, albeit for a couple of turns, man. This also triggers before attacking, so you place the leech debuff and then swing in with Grush, which is just a nice little bonus, right? Gives him a little bit of extra healing on hit. So pretty damn good A1. His A2 is where it gets serious, right? Fully bucked, Bonebreaker Stomp actually has a 100% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff or a 25% decrease critical damage debuff for 2 turns. Such a massive damage debuff like this that just can just be triggered so reliably in an AoE. Yeah, extremely good for pretty obvious reasons. Don't really need to talk about that much more. And also just a key component of any high-performing team, right? Now his A3 is where things just get absolutely mental. Like, he's already just a really good champ with what he's got. But yeah, his A3 is actually another attack all enemies, which is just invaluable, right? But what's crazy about this is that it's a really defensive skill. Like, it's a sustain skill, right? A lot of healing from this, but it's an attack all enemies, so it's like it's the biggest double whammy. And it can even be bucked down to a 4-turn cooldown. I didn't actually realize that, but yeah, it can be cranked all the way down to just a 4-turn cooldown. Crazy good. So attack all enemies, place a 15% continuous heal buff on allies for 2 turns, and place an additional 7.5% heal buff on allies for 1 turn if at least one enemy is hit with a crit, which, if you itemize this guy correctly, is always going to happen, you know? So yeah, just nonsensically good. That's it. It's a long, long wait time to get your hands on Grush. And while I think this ability, his A3, is a big, big luxury, there are skills that are more similar to the likes of Bonebreaker Stomp. You can find quite a few champs in the game that are much, much more budget and that you can use in the meantime to decrease enemy attack. And I'm going to cover one real quickly that I got super, super lucky with in my own collection. And there he is, man. This is my stand-in until I get my hands on Grush, because it is a long old wait. I got lucky enough to pull Hatatsu, which funnily enough, dude, he has a lot of similar skills, like for the most part, like weaker but similar to Grush. He has the same leech effect on his auto attack, right? It's just like a lower proc chance. Same thing as well on his A2. He can't get this to be a 100% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff, but it's very, very similar, right? It's exactly the same as Grush's A2, just with a lower chance to actually apply the debuff, which sucks a little bit, but you know what? As far as the stand-in goes, it's just pretty good. And on his A3, he has an increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns, and then the 15% continuous heal for just 1 turn. So yeah, it's not really close to being as strong as Grush's, but at the same time, he's almost like a budget Grush. He's like a Wish.com Grush, you know? And so I got pretty lucky. I feel pretty fortunate to have got myself a Hatatsu as a stand-in for Grush in the time being. For the time being, rather. Generally speaking, though, what you want to be on the lookout for is any kind of just decrease attack debuff. That's really the main component that you're looking for when you're picking up Grush, or when you're waiting to pick up Grush, rather. And so joining Haikatoon and Grush, we have the beautiful, the semi-naked, actually much, much more than semi-naked, War Maiden. And she is awesome, dude. One of the best rare champions in the game, completely campaign farmable. You just hit campaign stage 9 until you farm up a whole bunch of copies of War Maiden, and you'll eventually get skill books in all their skills and totally max her out without too much of an issue, man. Really, really good champ. What you want is your War Maiden in a ton of accuracy gear. Perception set can be pretty useful early on, in particular things like speed gear. Get her attacking nice and quickly, get her attacking in first, and applying this crumbling blast, right, which can be fully bucked up to have a 100% chance of placing a 60% decrease defense debuff for a couple turns. Really self-explanatory, to be honest. Again, decreased defense is just one of those things that you want to have active on enemies at all times in any kind of well-balanced team, and War Maiden is just an extremely over-tuned budget way to get that done. Again, you will eventually find better options than War Maiden, just as you naturally, you know, unlock epic champs, that kind of thing, you know. You'll eventually find a better decreased defense option. But War Maiden, as far as free-to-play goes, she's one of those rares that is going to last you a long, long time. And alright, man, it is back to the daily login rewards. Who will be joining Grush, Haikatoon, and War Maiden next? It's going to be Sill of the Drakes. Now, this is a 6-month wait. It's getting a little bit lengthy, but this champ is just mental. So Sill of the Drakes, to be honest, offers you just a little bit of everything. Her A1 is a chance to apply a decreased speed debuff that lasts for a couple of turns. It also has a small chance as well of decreasing the enemy target's turn meter by 15%. So it's just a small amount. It's just a little bit of something. The proc chance can be increased by quite a bit with skill bucks. But yeah, her A1's pretty decent. Her A2 is insane. Wingbeat, Flurry, attack all enemies 2 times, and each hit has a chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Can be bucked up and could also be bucked down to a 3-turn cooldown. Crazy, crazy good. Again, for pretty obvious reasons, right? Her A3 revives an ally with 50% HP and places a 50% ally protection buff on them for a couple turns. This can be bucked down to just a 4-turn cooldown. And honestly, her passive is also just really, really good. Heal all allies by 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn, and also places a 30% increased speed buff on a random ally for 2 turns. Yeah, just an incredible all-rounder champ. Ridiculous kind of wave clear potential, ridiculous control potential from reducing speed and landing stuns, and then you've got the goddamn revive, and then the passive is just adding value all the time, just party-wide survivability. Just a really, really damn good champ that you want to have in this team. And finally, we have probably the best uncommon champ in the game, and this man is all about turn meter control, and he's extremely good at it too. Ridiculously good for an uncommon champ. Actually, Riposte A1 attacks 1 enemy, decrease the turn meter by 30%. If this attack is critical, which if you've itemized him correctly, it always will be. So this humble little armature knight right here, dude, offers some of the best turn meter control in the game. Obviously in boss fights, you know. Ridiculously, ridiculously good. And on top of that, dude, honestly, his later rest finds crazy value in certain fights as well. Attack one enemy, enemies killed by the skill cannot be revived. Pretty good on its own. Damage is based on enemy max HP. Oh man, dude, this guy can execute stuff in the right scenario. And to get your hands on Armiger, obviously all you're going to be doing is just cracking open mystery shards. You'll get them eventually. I got my Armiger right now. I've had my account for like 3 weeks or something. And I think I've almost got him fully skilled already just from using copies of Armiger that I've pulled from shards. And so that is it, man. That is the full, completely free-to-play champ team that you want to max out, get in some sweet gear, and blast through stage 20 dungeons. Clear basically all of like the base content in the game, campaign, dungeons, that kind of thing, before you start progressing on to Doom Tower and beyond, where honestly a lot of these champs continue being useful anyway, right, for a long time to come. But yeah, this team, using to absolutely annihilate dungeons, it's gonna be awesome. Also, feel free to suggest some alternatives to these champions down below in the comments as well that are kind of easy to get. I think that's just really useful for people to know what to look out for when they're pulling their shards. And of course, ending on a shot of Juliana, make sure if you are starting out a fresh account to do so by clicking the link down below. Start off your fresh account as soon as you hit level 15 by unlocking Juliana, Epic Attack Champ, completely for free. There's no better way to start your new account, man. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all did enjoy, and I'm going to catch all of you all just a tad bit later, man.